Order the February 15th, 2022 Brooklyn City Board of Education regular meeting. Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier.
Here.
Ms. Krall. Here. Mr. Neale.
Here.
Mr. Slattery.
Here.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Here. Can we stand for the pledge, please? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In order for the board to fulfill its obligation to complete the planned agenda in an effective and efficient fashion, a maximum of 30 minutes of public participation as it pertains to school-related topics will be permitted at each meeting. Each person wishing to address the board will approach the podium and state his or her name and address. If several people wish to speak, each person will be allotted 3 minutes until the total time of 30 minutes is used. During the period, no person may speak twice until all who desire to speak have had the opportunity to do so. The period of public participation may be extended by a vote of the majority of the board. Do we have anyone who'd like to speak tonight? Okay, now on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Tekelaris.
Good evening, Mrs. Bartczak. I know everybody's excited to hear from Mrs. Jones and Angelica and Basha, and hear from our students. I'm going to quickly do a review of agenda items before we get to that so that we can go on to our presentation. I will start with item 4.1 on page 3. 4.1 is a commendation for honor merit roll students for the second quarter. Item 4.2 is the annual agreement with Ripcho Studios for the 22-23 school year. Ripcho does our student pictures and student and staff IDs. They also do senior night pictures, things like that. So that'll be for next school year. Item 4.3 is an agreement with Martin Public Seating. Typically don't have to do these, but I wanted to put it in front of the board in terms of just so everybody's aware of the furniture purchases that we're going to have next year. This will be used with ESSER 2 and 3 grant money. We'll be doing some additional furniture or seating in the cafeteria at the high school. We will be doing our classrooms in grades 4 through 7. We're going to hopefully finish off most of our high school classrooms, and then we're going to be doing a high school. We're looking at Mr. Rogers' classroom. We're doing some seating there. We're going to pilot it, and if we like it, we're going to move that to our other science rooms for the following school year. So this is state pricing, and we're able to get a 54% discount because we're also purchasing in bulk. We're saving about $21,000.
Am I correct in saying made in the USA furniture?
Yes, correct. You are correct. Yeah, Wisconsin.
Correct.
Item 4.4 is this is an additional addendum for our substitute services after our conversation last couple of weeks with Rachel Wixie. Be moving that fee from $100 to $125 to be more competitive, and also any of our building subs that were approved through our Board of Education. So we'll be moving those to $125 per day. 5.1 is the approval for chaperones and volunteers for our overnight trip to Walt Disney World. 5.2 is the spring supplemental assignments, coaching assignments, as noted in that resolution. Item 5.3, back in December, Mrs. Chrisman had left us for another position, and this is the replacement of Mrs. Chrisman. This is through federal funds, so it'll be covered. It won't impact our general fund. Item 5.4 is an exempt resignation. Item 5.5 is a commendation for that employee years of service for the district. Item 5.6 is a classified retirement. Item 5.7 is a commendation for that retirement, that employee that's retiring. And those are my agenda items for this evening. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions regarding any of those?
Anybody?
Okay. One note before I turn over to Mrs. Jones. We had just recently Sophia Collins, one of our wrestlers on the wrestling team, qualified for the girls' state wrestling tournament, and she'll be wrestling for third and fourth place. So congratulations to Sophia, and I think she's wrestling right now.
Awesome.
So that's my report. I want to turn it over to Mrs. Jones. Back in early fall, as students were transitioning back and staff were transitioning back. I just happened to be looking on Twitter and saw a school district bringing in therapy dogs, and it was through Sit Means Sit. And Mrs. Jones and I had a conversation, and we said, you know, let's see what happens, and let's try it. I think one of the things that we've learned this year, coming back kind of full in person, is that there's been a greater impact on the social emotional for our staff and students. You know, 2 years of a pandemic, you know, remote, hybrid, back and forth, all of these things going on. One of the things we wanted to do is try to look at some of those social emotional needs of our staff and our students. And I'm going to hand it off to Mrs. Jones. I'm not going to take any of her thunder, but we've been very fortunate the past 4 or 5 months to have Angelica and Basha part of our family. I enjoyed coming in, so they did it right. One of those things, but Mrs. Jones.
Thanks. So come on up. I'm not going to do most of the talking because we have some others to join us, but I reached out to Sit Means Sit, which is an agency that does some training, and I'm going to let Angelica actually tell a little more about the training and what goes into the process. And we were so lucky to be connected with Angelica, who has Basha, and they come on Wednesdays every week, and they spend half the day in the elementary, half at the high school. Teachers sign up. She always has a full caseload. And then they switch, you know, AM and PM, so it gives everybody an opportunity of, you know, if they're not able to make it one time, they can choose another. And she goes all the way down to preschool and comes up, and I have a feeling staff get just as much out of visiting with her as the kids do. So this is Angelica, and I'll let you tell a little bit about the training program.
Thank you. Basha is going to be 4 years old next month. She began training with Sit Means Sit when she was 4 months old. If we didn't, she would have ruined our house. They have a very effective program, and for those who are able and willing and have dogs who have the right temperament, they have the Canine Caring Angels. Basha, down, down. Canine Caring Angels has a very rigorous test that dogs have to go through every year in order to initially qualify and be recertified every year. Some of the things she needs to do in order to pass her tests: she has to go to the fire station, and while the fire truck is on, they turn on the sirens, and she needs to walk around and not freak out. She has to go to Macy's, go up and down the elevator, go in and out the escalator, and this is with a lot of other dogs. So try to get 6 dogs in an elevator without sniffing each other's back ends. That's fun. And she also has to go to a restaurant and not steal food. She has to just sit there like a good girl. And so she does this every year in order to be on the team. And not only that, she has to be friendly. She has to actually like people. So this is one of the reasons that I got her into this, is because, as you could see when she came in, oh my God, does she love people. She can barely keep it in when she sees people. She goes to a dog park, she heads for the people, not the dogs. So that's how I wanted to get her into this. On the therapy dog team, there are dogs from Chihuahuas all the way up to Great Danes. And you know, I just happened to be the one, as a former teacher, when I saw this opportunity, I thought this would be great. I wanted to get in on this, and she loves kids and loves kids' energy. So.
And I should mention it's completely voluntary. As hard as we've tried to even just give her a little gas money, she refuses because she loves it, and it's all voluntary. So
yeah, this is
that.
what we do for our community. So.
So I want to introduce, we have Miss Julie McGarry, pardon me, one of our teachers at the high school. Basha makes some weekly visits, I think, to her class, and she's brought a few students to introduce and tell us a little bit how Basha impacts them.
So we have Tyler with us, who is an 11th grader, and Yasmin is an 8th grader. 2 of the students that Basha gets to visit when she comes to our room. And I just cannot speak highly enough of Angelica and Basha and what they bring to the students, and also the adults that are in my classroom. So I have 4 paraprofessionals that work in my room, so when the kids and the adults see that Basha's on the schedule for the day, I mean, everybody, you saw how when she came in tonight, everybody's like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be at least one good thing that happens today. So to speak to the social emotional piece too, we have a chance to build a relationship with Angelica and the dog. The kids seem to be relaxed. They, I think you would agree, they can talk about things. Yasmin and Angelica have made many connections outside of loving dogs. So it's a really positive experience for all. And it's nice knowing that, we can count on, that time to just be relaxed and be calmed. And, yes, we focus on academics, but it's building that relationship. That's not something I could have done on my own as a classroom teacher. So it's been a blessing to us truly. So do you guys want to talk at all? Do you like when Angelica comes to the classroom with Basha?
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you do when they come to the classroom? So we usually have a little bit of a routine. So does everybody run over to Basha and like jump on her, and mess around with her? What do we do when she comes in the classroom?
So what we do is we just sit down for one who's touched her, and then who's done, and then it's switch. It's who did and who didn't.
So she has a designated spot, and everybody gets to take turns. And if you don't want to take a turn, you don't have to take a turn. And sometimes everybody wants a turn. Sometimes it's just a few students. So, and Basha is a licker. But Angelica has been wonderful about being mindful of the students' needs and interests. And maybe it's just not a good day for one kid to be with the dog. But I have one student who wants to be licked. Probably he has no problem with having Basha all over him. So. It's been really great to grow the relationship with them. And again, I think other classrooms benefit too, but I know I'm always one of the first to jump on booking that time slot because it's just such a bright spot in our day and in our week when we know that they're going to be here.
And ours too. We love going to your classroom.
Thank you. So I don't know if anybody has any questions?
My question is, so is she certified or permitted to go to hospitals and senior citizen homes, or is there designation?
Yeah, so there actually isn't any kind of state or federal database or certification that would certify her. She is not a service dog. Those are the only ones that are protected by the American Disabilities Act, the ADA. She's working in this capacity as a therapy dog, so that not the same as a service dog. So I cannot bring her, for example, into a restaurant and just say, oh, but she's a therapy dog. She has to come in. No. If she were my service dog, then she would be protected, and they would have to let her in with me. But she is certified by Canine Caring Angels. They're the ones who have the rigorous testing and the standards to say, we know that she is a certified good doggy. And before she takes their test, she has to pass something through the, what is that, AKC? Called the Canine Good Citizenship Test. She had to test through that before she even went for her Canine Caring Angels testing.
I don't think you said, how long is the training to get to the point right now?
Well, it depends. Sometimes I feel bad, like I'm trying to put a square peg in a round hole with her, because she is a high energy dog. And which is a good thing in this setting, because a low energy dog will fizzle out after the first floor. She needs to have that energy to be able to go through the whole school and make it back home. So with her, she started at 4 months old. She was certified when she was about 1.5 years old, but then the pandemic hit. So with every dog, it could be different. With a dog with a calmer temperament, for example, they may not require as much. But she was a wild child. So if you believe it,
She's so sweet.
Thank you so much for coming.
It's a cool
Thank you
program.
so much.
Thanks to everybody.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
She is sweet.
Very sweet.
Ms. Bartczak, that's my report.
Okay, thank you. One of my favorites. This will definitely go down as one of my favorite reports you ever have.
With Papa.
Now, yes, exactly. And
That's right.
now on to the treasurer's report.
Well, I don't have a dog. On the agenda, I have the financial statements for the month of January for approval, and the then and now purchases for approval. I also have a donation from the boosters, the donation coming for the boosters tonight for the renovation of the concession stand. And then I also wanted to mention, it's not on this agenda, hopefully coming soon, the music boosters donation for the new uniforms. That should be coming soon.
Okay,
That's all I have.
thank you so much. Now on to comments from board members and board committee reports. And then we're gonna start off with Mr. Rocky Neale.
Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody. Basha. I got a few of those at home as myself, too. One of my committees is technology. I don't have anything scheduled, but I'm gonna speak to Mr. Polaris and get something scheduled. Polaris, we had no meeting in February. Next meeting will be March 8th. One of my other committees is legislative. The only thing really legislative, I mean, there's plenty of it, but I did get an email from Mr. Cyngier, and I did see it as well, too, about the realignment of District 11, which is our district. So waiting for those final maps to come out, and those should be coming out, I believe it was the 19th? I think it was the 19th, where the governor has to sign off on the legislative district remapping. The other things I would like to say, the Butler family, condolences to the Butler family. Sean succumbed to cancer. He was a class of 77 last week. Unfortunate, good people. When I was at Rhodes, we ran track against each other. Known the Butler family for probably 40, 50 years, and it's pretty sad. So it's unfortunate. I'd like to give them deepest condolences. I would like to say good luck to the girls, boys, basketball, hockey, and the wrestlers. I had the opportunity to go with Mrs. Neale to watch the girls at Clearview. Quite impressed, first time I've seen them play. I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. They played better defense than the boys basketball team, but the boys basketball team's getting better at defense. That's my opinion, and I'll stick to it, and I'll tell Coach Shepard if I have to. I'm okay with that. The boys basketball team, I just want to wish them good luck in their playoff games. And then Coach McFarland's award, I'm not sure exactly, he went down to Columbus, he's on the front of a magazine, and I'm not sure what.
Yeah, so it's the Greater Cleveland Coaches Association. They do an annual recognition, and Coach Mark McFarland was honored as one of the recipients this year. I can't speak to what the exact award was, but he was honored for the work he did with our kids and, you know, the timing of taking over that position and just really working with our kids, stepping up and taking our team to the playoffs for the first time in, I think, forever. So, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and I just wanted to wish him and thank him for all the hard work he put in, because it is a tough job, football coaching nowadays. Ms. Bartczak, that's in my report.
Thank you. Now on to Mr. Rob Slattery.
Thank you. First off, the rec board, we have a meeting on the 23rd, so the following meeting after that, I'll have an update. As far as facilities, Dr. Ted sent out information to all the board members. The upgrades, the resurfacing of the track will be done summer of '22. So that's gonna be nice. We can hit, I know Bob's made statements about holding track meets and conference meets and things like that, so it's gonna offer us a lot of different opportunities to hold events or raise money through the boosters, things like that. Sophia Collins, it was mentioned earlier, she's going to States. If you've ever met her, one of the nicest kids around, but when she gets on the mat, she turns into a killer. So hopefully she does well there. We got a notice today of one of our students, Amari Thompson, was named Student of the Quarter at Polaris. So, I mean, there's a lot of kids there, so that's pretty impressive. And with facilities as well, Dr. Ted mentioned the new furniture. He said when he started doing that study, he realized that some of that furniture was here when he left to go to Sandusky. So it's long overdue that we get that stuff done. Any horses? There's no horses left. Tickets are sold out. Everything's done. You will still take baskets for the raffle. Okay, that's for the night of the races. You want to see the hard work of a group of boosters go that night to races. They run around nonstop. It is They have no fun there, but they do quite a bit of work and they raise quite a bit of money. And as far as, like Mr. Neale said, Sean Butler was a heck of an athlete here. If you knew him in the community, he was one of a kind. He was a real character. It was a terrible loss. And then also, this is not a school issue, but I believe all of Mr. Sundermeyer's daughters and son went to Brooklyn. He was a Santa Claus for 32 years for the city. He was on the auxiliary, I believe, over 52 years. You met him, he was just a class act. He was just a fantastic person, and he passed away just recently, so I'd like to send condolences out to both families. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Slattery. Now on to Ms. Kelly Krall.
Sorry, I had to type mine out, otherwise I'll forget. I don't have anything on committees, I just have a couple other items. At the beginning of 2020, I was on a committee with the high school administration, the athletic booster president, other parents and community members, perhaps Mr. Slattery, I can't remember. The purpose of this committee was to find ways to, one, engage the students and promote school spirit within the school, and two, engage the community in the same way and help bridge the gap and bring the pride outside the school. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see anything through. I was happy to find out that one of our ideas recently came to fruition, and I was glad I was able to attend the staff-student basketball game last Friday. I thought it was really fun and amazing to see all the students cheering and chanting and having a good time, and the teachers were also getting into it with Mr. Holko and Mr. Jones, I think, taunting the student team with their three-pointers. It was a really cool event, and I'm hoping that we can have more of those types of events, but also include the community. Whether it's like a Friday night fundraiser, or bringing the senior citizens in to enjoy an afternoon watching the kids, or bringing the smaller kids up, showing them high school's not scary, and they like watching the big kids. Just things like that to bring the school and the community together. Which leads into my next item. After the Martin Luther King snowstorm, one of my friends sent me a screenshot of a coach, I think from Pennsylvania, who didn't cancel practice, but instead made practice shoveling snow for their neighbors. And I thought that was fantastic. And I would love to see something like that in Brooklyn, but bigger. So I know we have teams that went out to rake leaves, and I know the high school plans on having service days next year to fulfill graduation requirements, but I'm talking about something more like team building while volunteering services to the community, and not under the premise of receiving hours. I feel the 20-hour requirement is the student's responsibility to fulfill, and some kids won't participate if they already got their 20 hours. So I feel that there are ways to get the teams and the clubs out to show appreciation for the community support. Again, bridge that gap between the school and the rest of Brooklyn. I think that's important. And then, which kind of leads into the next, I know senior citizens are able to come up to the Board of Education and receive free passes to our home sporting events and the musical. And I was hoping that there was a way the school could get some sort of census data from the city, or maybe we have retained lists, but my idea was to automatically send those passes out. Because I don't know if every senior knows about that, if they know they can receive those. And I think it's just an idea to include our elderly residents that might not have family in the school and showcase our students what they do best.
Describe the meeting with Karen over at the Senior Center on Thursday afternoon, and we're actually going to talk about the senior citizen preview for the play coming up in March. But I'll talk to her about some of those things in terms of getting those cards to senior citizens that would want them. So
I know they have to come up here and show.
Yeah, but I think we can facilitate some to make it easier for them, for sure. Yeah.
And then last, congratulations and good luck to Sophia Collins, who's going to state. That ends my report.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. And now on to Mr. Ripcho.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be attending an all-day board workshop on March 5th down in Columbus, Ohio. This is sponsored by the OSBA, which is the School Board Association. It's designed for training, additional training for some seasoned board members like myself. As we all know in education, never too old to learn. So I sent out a welcome to my fellow board members. If they want to drive down and join me for some additional training, please let Colleen Aholt know, and we can drive down together. We have a meeting scheduled for next Friday with Dr. Ted and our AD, Mike Becker, and we're going to be talking about soliciting ads and banners for our field house and for our stadium. Hopefully we can raise additional funds for the athletic programs, and I've been getting material from different high schools and athletic directors from around the state, and who've kind of shared with us how they run their programs. And what this is basically mostly just banners around the fencing from different local businesses that support Brooklyn and Brooklyn athletics. So hopefully we can kind of ring our stadium with some good banner ads and raise additional funds. One of the things that I wanted to highlight today was I've been part of it's actually a national committee of school board members now that they want more transparency, parental rights highlighted in both board policy and in practice. In Ohio, there's legislation that's been introduced, it's in committee right now. It's called HB 529. And the analysis in short, because you know these bills can be 40 pages long, is it requires public and non-public schools that by July 1st of each year to post the district's or school's website information regarding curricula and other instructional materials used in each classroom or course. Requires each public college, so we have the College Plus credit program, it requires each public college to post on the college website information regarding curricula and other instructional materials used in each course in which a secondary school student is enrolled through the College Credit Plus program. So this is all-inclusive, includes textbooks, course syllabi, all instructional materials and activities used for student instruction in each course, which includes textbooks, reading materials, videos, digital materials, websites, online applications, and the other materials used for instruction. The purpose of this bill is basically, and this is a little disturbing, you know, being a board member for over 10 years, is that we have some school districts, and not Brooklyn, fortunately, you know, where we have common sense written all over our foreheads. But we have school districts that are teaching sex education in 3rd grade. They're endorsing transgender and homosexual activity in an early age. And the objection there is not against the homosexual community or transgender community, but it's at the time where you introduce young kids with curriculum that highlights this. I know in the 3rd grade, a lot of these kids don't even know what sex really means, other than, you know, they're instructed by their teachers of what appropriate behavior in touching is. This goes beyond that. And there are textbooks that are specifically earmarked by the Diversity Center, which is local here in Ohio, and that teaches teachers how to get around some school board policies that affect what they call critical race theory, which says that it teaches our kids that which is contrary to what Martin Luther King said, was that you're judging people by the skin color, not by the character. This is totally contrary to what I believe all of us believe, and it's very dangerous policy in an ideology. And so you understand this is not a class. This is kind of woven into some of the curriculum, and it flies under the radar of a lot of our board policies. So there is a statewide effort, both by the ODE, Ohio Department of Education, some movement by OSBA, and by the state legislature to prevent this kind of activity from happening unless it's board approved. When you have instructions from school boards, superintendents, and a board policy that dictates that the parent has no right to know what their students are being taught. That's a danger signal. So the House Bill 529 is stuck in committee, and I encourage every one of you to write a letter to your representative. This is primary sponsors, Representatives Hillier and Romer in Ohio. And we need to move this out of committee and pass this law, which requires basically transparency, disclosure. So, you know, if the board, if the community wants this stuff to be taught, that's fine, okay? But it should be something that's board approved, superintendent recommended, and the community is involved and endorses this kind of activity. So none of this fly under the radar stuff anymore, or sneaking some of this curriculum in. Anything that's being taught in our schools will have to be obviously published.
Yep.
And it'll be published on a website. So I want to bring this all to your attention, and I know it's not a very pleasant subject, but it's something that has to be done in this time period. So that's the end of my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singer. I'm just glad to say that none of those things are happening here in Brooklyn, and that we are not doing any of those, and I'm really proud to say that we are definitely, you know, not taking part of.
Can I make one comment?
Thank you, big guy.
This is, you said you have a meeting Friday with Mr. Becker, Dr. Ted, and,
Not this Friday,
Friday.
it's next Friday.
Next
The
Friday,
following Friday.
25th.
well, I just, whether I'm there or not, I just want to throw this out. I mean, obviously, I would hope that we have some sort of policy on what businesses we are allowed.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
mean,
I think this
I would
is.
assume no
yeah, I
bars,
think-
smoke shops, things
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I think
We're not gonna-
those are the conversations we're gonna have. What does it look like? And I think any type of fundraising program, we would wanna run that through board for approval. Because we wanna be clear, but I agree. I think we need to be very selective in who posts banners and make, and again, there are laws that says you can't even do that in terms of alcohol and things like that.
Right.
at
Or the
high
vape
school
shops,
events.
anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do that at high school events. Yeah.
I think what it opens up, Ralph, is allowing, you know, a lot of parents are very proud of their Brooklyn athletes. It allows them maybe to buy a small banner that has their, you know, their child's picture on it, the sport that they play in, whether it's in the field house or on the
I think it's a
field.
great idea. I just wanted to throw that out there.
So, it's a good fundraiser.
Yeah, we'll have to look at policy,
Yeah.
talk to Markling about the legal
Right.
aspects of it and things like that, so yeah.
Thank you, Dr. King.
Speaking about that too, I also want to thank the boosters, because I know they provide the banners for our athletes throughout the year and at all in the gym and then around the stadium and everything, and those banners and stuff. So I want to thank them for doing that also as well, speaking about those banners. Everybody's basically said what I wanted to say tonight. I'll say it again though. Congratulations, Sophia. We are so proud of you. Good luck. I know you're gonna like definitely represent us well. Can't wait to hear how she does. I would also like to congratulate our Polaris Student of the Quarter. That's quite the accomplishment with that many students. I don't know exactly how many students total are at Polaris, but I know it is quite the number, and that's something to be proud of. And you said that there are ads still available, Kelly, for who would they need to call? You, contact you on Facebook, or?
They can email us
Okay,
at bhsmsathleticboosters@gmail.com.
Okay.
That would be much more manageable
okay,
than everybody texting in different formats.
okay. Is there a limited number, or is it, nope, unlimited, okay? All right, do you have a deadline for that?
By next Wednesday.
By Wednesday, okay. And if anyone would ever like to speak to me about any school-related topics, I can always be reached at 216-406-4304. And now on to the reading of tonight's agenda and minutes and financial statements. And tonight's reader is Mr. Rob Slattery.
Oh, I didn't check the list. I didn't realize that. I might have called in sick.
Again,
All right, so we were on 4.1, correct?
No, 3.1.
3.1. See, I'm no good at this, okay. Resolve the minutes of the Board of Education meeting be adopted and all action taken by the Board of Education at said meeting is hereby reaffirmed and approved.
Can I have a motion, please?
so moved.
Second?
Second?
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Okay, resolve the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the financial statements of the receipts and expenditures for the month of January 2022, including all purchase orders paid and all then and now statements for the month as submitted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby commends the following students for the academic achievement as noted.
I'll motion that one.
Second.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Good job,
keep up the
kids.
great work. Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolve the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the superintendent to enter into agreement with, is it Ripcho?
Ripcho, yes.
Studio for the 2022-2023 school year.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
No.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
No.
Okay, where am I at here?
Down here.
Okay. Resolve the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorize the superintendent to enter into agreement with Martin Public Seating to purchase furniture out of the ESSER 1, 2, and 3 grant funds per the attached quotes.
As noted.
As noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached addendums to the master service agreement with NCSA, North Coast Shared Service Alliance, prepared by the governing board of the ESC of Cook County for substitute services, an increase in the daily substitute rate increased to $125 per day for all substitutes hired through the Brooklyn Board of Education.
Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? I'll just say that I think that this is much needed. I know at my work, we're offering $175 and can get no one. No one. We haven't had anyone sign up, and I mean, the competition, actually, when we looked into this, is just staggering to see how many of the school districts are just begging for people to come and sub. So I know it's $125. I personally would have liked it a little bit higher. I think, your chances are better if, you're gonna go to Parma, you're gonna go to Brooklyn, and $25 more, you may come, and it's such a need, and there is just so much competition right now between school districts, so I think this is needed, in my opinion, a little bit more, entice some people to come, but that's just my feel on that. So, anyone else have anything? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolve the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following adult chaperones/volunteers for the Walt Disney World overnight trip from March 25th through March 31st, 2022. Background checks are on file in the board office.
I'll motion this. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay.
Second.
And questions, comments?
I have a comment. I will offer $10 to the first person that sends me a picture of Mr. Becker with mouse ears.
I'll up that. I'll up that. We will up that. We will donate to the boosters.
Mr. Black will be sending the
Donate to the boosters, the music boosters, and the athletic boosters. $50 if you get a picture of him
Right.
with the mouse ears. Let's go. We
I
can
said 10. I'm only throwing in 10.
I'll do 50
I'll
to
throw
each
it.
one. Each one, if you get a picture of him with the mouse ears, it will be 50. That'll be wonderful.
Does he have to be awake?
All I said was a photo.
A photo, a photo.
He'll be on the bus.
Yes.
He can't be sleeping or dead.
Wow, Mr. Becker wants to continue working here, everybody. Mr. Becker wants to continue to work here.
We can use that photo at his next contract talk.
Good.
Throw it in front of. What do you think?
I would like to know when we can have board members go on the Disney trip, because this board member would love to go to the Disney trip. I'm just saying. The Europe trip, I'd love it anytime now. I'm just saying. Anyway, just saying. Anyone else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Ms. Krall.
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for the 2021-2022 supplemental coaching assignments, with the provision that such individuals comply with all Ohio High School Athletic Association rules and regulations and State Department of Education regulations pertaining to proper certification and/or first aid training fulfills the requirements of the job description attached to the supplemental contract as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments?
Thank you for all, Mr. Hennings, who's the only volunteer on here. And thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
I always,
Yeah, Mr.
Thanks, Bob.
Oleg, too.
oh, Mr. Oldeg too. I apologize for that.
Is this,
As usual.
Yeah.
I have a question, is this the Hennings dynasty now? We're going to have to run the whole sports program?
Yeah, that's all right. That's good.
What? Can't hear you, Ray.
Oh, I asked if this is gonna, part of a new Hennings dynasty, they're gonna run all the
Oh,
sports
yeah.
programs.
The dynasty.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Hamburgers on the road.
There you go.
Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves granting a limited contract to the following certified personnel for the remainder of the 2021-22 school year as a tutor to be paid from the annual federal Title I funds received by the school district, contingent upon successful completion of background check and credentials.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I
Second.
get a second? Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the resignation of Mara Ryback effective February 28th, 2022.
Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a second? Questions, comments?
Question, is the board responsible for paying on any additional severance pay or retirement pay, for Mara?
She just doesn't have any severance payment.
Okay.
Anyone else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby commends Mara Ryback for her years of service to Brooklyn students.
I would like to motion that one. Can I get a second,
Second.
please? Questions, comments? Thank you, Mara, for your
Thank
you, Mara,
service.
for all
Thank you
your
so much.
service.
Thank you. Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby accepts with regret the retirement of Linda Etheridge effective at the end of the 2021-22 school year.
I'll motion that one. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby commends Linda Etheridge for her years of service to the students of Brooklyn.
I would also like to motion that one. Can I
Second.
get a second? Questions, comments?
Thank you.
Thank you,
very
Linda.
much.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you so much for
retirement.
your years of service. Enjoy your retirement.
We'll miss you, Linda.
We will. Brooklyn will miss you, miss the Etheridges. Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby in accordance with the ORC 3313.26 intends to gratefully accept the generous donation of $20,000 to the Brooklyn High School Athletic Boosters for the concession stand renovation project at Brooklyn Stadium.
Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
I would, if I could have
Yes.
just a moment. So one of the first conversations that I had in June of 2020 when I came aboard was with Mr. Hennings about the concession stand renovation and lots of different topics. But
Bless you.
what I do want to say to Mr. Hennings, the rest of the Booster Club, Mrs. Supek, everybody here, that the boosters are passionate about our kids. They give a lot back to us. Don't ask a lot in return, and we are very happy that this project is going forward. We'll be doing a joint project with Polaris. Polaris will be doing the renovations, the actual labor, and we're excited and we're thankful that the Booster Club is partnering with us on this, and just want to say thank you to all of them for everything they do, especially for the wonderful popcorn all the
Yes.
time. So, Mr. Hennings, please come on up, please.
We're all in this together.
Don't say that.
I'm not going up there by myself.
Actually, you know what, can we just take a picture?
Yes.
Let's take a picture.
Yes.
This would have never happened if it wasn't for Bonnie and buying all that popcorn.
Yeah, I may have contributed quite a bit.
Official check.
Take it to the bank, take it to the bank, let me know
hope it clears.
Yep.
Well, you
Madam
can
President,
speak,
you
I
have
guess.
to hold that.
Get everybody in
It's almost
your pocket.
Who's taking it?
Just hold it. We'll figure it out. You know what, we're gonna make this work.
Angie, you are a short person, you need to be.
You wanna get my shoulders?
Tell her to go one more
I
step
do
to the
not,
left.
I do not work for a private place, so we will make this
One more
work.
to the left.
All right, say.
To my right.
Say cheese.
Popcorn.
Popcorn.
Popcorn, there you go.
Cheeseburger.
Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much.
Persistence.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We truly appreciate this.
Thank you. And I definitely have contributed quite a bit of money with my popcorn. She promised $20,000. I definitely contributed.
I think you own that popcorn machine.
I swear, that popcorn.
She won't let us get rid of it.
I know, there never will be. Thank you
Flavor
so
to
much.
change.
The board truly appreciates your partnership. We truly appreciate you, always doing what you do for the kids. And I know it's a select group of people, there's a lot of people involved, but there is a core group of people who have spent countless hours and are the unsung heroes who, even when they don't have children in our district, are still coming. And it is definitely appreciated and it is definitely noticed. And thank you so much.
We'll get a picture of Colleen at the bank with us tomorrow.
On the way home.
Actually, she may be trying to scan it in on her, like, in the.
What's that movie, Semi-Pro?
Yeah, yeah, we need a bigger bank.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Well, it was a big help, Dr. Claris, getting Claris involved. We can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
I don't think either one of us would have been able to afford it, having to pay for the labor costs.
Right.
No, I would agree with you, but
That was a big,
we're excited,
big
we're
help.
excited for the project, and it's the real life application that, and and here's the nice thing, it's not gonna just be Brooklyn kids working on the project, it's gonna be kids from all the other school districts, so, we have a little fun with it, and it's gonna be a good thing, so we're excited.
Yeah.
And thank you and real quick, thank you to Mrs. Neale for, she's been doing a lot of legwork and communicating with the architects and finalizing the documents and all of those things. So, thank you, Mrs. Neale, for all that work.
Thank you, Ms. Neal.
She's not done, but I'm just saying.
Yes, she did. Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes.
Resolve the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby commends Deborah Tomusko on her service and contribution to the City of Brooklyn School District and Hall of Fame Committee.
I'm gonna motion that one. Can I get
Second. Either way.
questions, comments?
Guys, I'd like to make a comment that I'm glad Kathy Pucci's here too, because I know she served with Debbie in the council. That Deb was very involved. She's a Brooklyn graduate and attended Harvard College, I think in a master's program after she graduated from college. But she was always very much in love with Brooklyn schools and got involved with the Hall of Fame committee. And she was just someone who was very, very involved in the community, so much so as she also got on city council and served on city council, I believe, for several years, wasn't it?
I think it was 6.
Yeah. And, so she served the city of Brooklyn and Brooklyn schools. Yeah, probably a super citizen. And we wish her, I'd like to wish her well. I'm sure the board would like to do the same. And to pray that her suffering through her sickness is mitigated and that the Lord watches over her.
Anyone else?
I had the luxury of knowing Debbie in a professional experience through council and different things, but also in social events. She had an unbelievable sense of humor. We went to we did a wine tasting, a couple of things down at Sokolowski's. And she was like so brilliant as far as engineering and kind of breaking that glass ceiling and everything. But in the social set, she was just unbelievably funny. I mean, she's a very special person.
Anyone else? Ms. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Cyngier,
Yes.
Ms. Krall,
Yes.
Mr. Neale,
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak.
Yes. Do we have any correspondence related to action information? None at this time. Do you have any other business? No. Announcement of the next regular board meeting is Tuesday, March 1st, 2022, in the Treasurer's Office Conference Room, 9200 Bidoff Road, Brooklyn, Ohio, at 6 p.m. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Cyngier?
Yes.
Mrs. Krall? Yes. Mr. Neale?
Yes.
Mr. Slattery?
Yes.
Mrs. Bartczak?
Yes.